Why do we punish ourselves for the mess behind our curtains whilst we spend time applauding the stage lights of others, of strangers? We find ourselves comparing our unedited, our raw internal chaos to this carefully curated masterpiece that doesn't actually exist. Today, we're going to dismantle these toxic habits and finally find peace in our beautifully unpolished reality. But before we do that, I want to say thank you for joining us and let us know in the comment section where you're watching or listening from. One of the reasons that comes to mind when you picture this is this illusion of the digital mirror that we appear to live in these days. We find ourselves consistently scrolling, and as we do that, we sit there and visualize our own mess or what we construe to be the case and compare it to this glowing smartphone screen and almost want to dismiss the fact that that could be somebody else's reality, what we are sitting in, our messy bedroom, our messy home, our messy workplace, our struggle for that day. The problem is that we don't always pay attention to the work that is being put in to catch us off guard. The images we are stuck in or stuck viewing, they're so nicely perfected that the algorithm brings out our inadequacies. But how do we get here? We got here by focusing on the finished product, ignoring the creative process, making ourselves believe that that's somebody's reality. Because back in the days where you saw the process, the person next to you went from having nothing to having something. There was a process. What these images we are confronted with now does is that it skips that step. We go from someone that was never known before to someone that is known by everyone. And that tricks us to believe, if we're not careful, that that's how life should be. We tell ourselves off, creating this mental load that editing away our vulnerability is the way to meet up with societal standards, the standards that have been nicely set up by our screens. The things that we fail to acknowledge while we're thinking like this is that the chores still need to be done. Nobody's gonna do it for us. You leave the mess behind the curtains, they're still gonna need to be cleaned up. And until we can realize the friction that exists between the reality of those chores that need to be done against the universal constant that we seem to see on social media and online, we're gonna consistently be stuck in this loop of feeling that we're not enough, we're not good enough. That yes, I might not have the job right now, but I'm working towards it and I'm putting in the work by submitting the CVs. I might haven't actually completed my studies right now, but I'm putting in the work because I am in there 5 days a week, 3 days a week, 2 days a week, however long it is that it takes you, because maybe you still have to work alongside the program that you're taking. Maybe right now I am not where I want to be, but I am working towards that. These are the unedited versions that are not captured. I suppose the one thing we need to consider is that nobody came from nowhere. Those viral moments and successes that we often see are carefully cropped and created versions of a much larger, messy story of someone. I've heard stories of people working as mortuary attendants to becoming viral sensations, comedians, people being your normal and ordinary dancers that just people praise and celebrate for having good skills to becoming actors and actresses. Your introverted friend becoming a viral sensation. Recognizing that the digital avatars that we compare ourselves to are not static objects. We are all living and breathing processes. For some, the journey to the stage they're in appears shorter, but what it is that they've been exposed to or had to go through to achieve that is not always clear, are not always there for us to see because we're not privy to that. As we're caught in this moment, finding sanctuary in our raw reality is key, because we don't want to get caught up in somebody else's world, ignoring our own. But how do we do that? We do that by shifting our mindset from consistently seeking external validation, because we live in a world now where we find ourselves either posting and waiting for that first like, that first comment, that first realization that what we have done is good enough, to cultivating internal peace through authenticity. For some people, using grounding techniques to reconnect with our physical space helps, rather than using the digital voids, because you find yourself just doom scrolling. We don't always realize the quiet powers that exist in our own path, carefully crafting the person that we want to be, genuinely want to be. Committing to our lives of our lived experience, rather than the documented applause of people that know or don't even care about who we are. I suppose the key takeaway from this is that behind the scene, behind the curtain, is where the most meaningful life happens. Because that's the time that we're most alive, the time we are allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, the time we're allowing ourselves to cry and laugh at the same time without worrying about who's watching, what they're going to say, what they're going to do. What does this part of me reveal to others, and how does that taint my image? Your messy self, our messy selves, that be it through work experience or lack of, financial stability or lack of, family unity or lack of, love in the people that mean a lot to us, that be close network or friendship, or intimate partners, or lack of, doesn't define who we are. But our very experience right now does, in the way in which we choose to interpret it. Are we interpreting it genuinely? Or are we letting other people do that for us? Because for any angle we choose, there are two things involved. It would either end with happiness and peace, or with sadness and pain. The choice is yours. Let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, it has been Kings. You make sure you look after yourself and you stay safe. Peace. Bye for now.